Beta 4 of macOS Sonoma is the roughest macOS beta release we have had in a very long time. Apple is actually aware of the issue and they are looking for volunteers to try to fix the issue. And it looks like this week we will get macOS Sonoma Beta 4 re-release to fix the issue. Now if we get a re-release of Beta 4 for iOS, watchOS, and even other platforms, it's probably not going to happen because we likely won't get Xcode 15 Beta 6. This could be why we have not seen a public beta for iOS 17, as Apple is waiting for a smooth version of macOS Sonoma Beta 4. Shout out to Apple for being very transparent about this issue. They have not been very transparent about these things in the past. What's up everyone, WilliApple here, and welcome to Apple Sundae. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some additional changes inside of iOS, macOS, and watchOS Beta 4. Then we're going to talk about additional leaks about the iPhone 15 and some M3 Macs. Then we're going to take a look at other things in the world of Apple that has happened last week, and we're going to elaborate on what we can see this week in Apple. We have a pretty jam-packed episode. Let's go. The first change is inside of weather. So if it's nighttime, you're actually able to see the moon up here, which is a pretty cool touch inside the weather app, and it shows the exact moon that it shows down here. And it's just a really nice brand new detail that Apple is now showing inside the Apple Weather app. We have a brand new accessibility options inside of accessibility, plain text size, and then it's right here per horizontal text. I'm actually not sure what this is supposed to do, but if we were to turn it on, it seems the same to me. I'll have to see what this does in the future, but hopefully Apple will give more documentation on this when iOS 17 releases. Scared me. If you were to open Health right here, you're going to see this brand new splash screen that asks you if you want to share your data with Apple. Personally, I wouldn't, but at least we get the choice, unlike Android where it just forces it. It's another reason to stay with Apple. Inside of the 4th beta of watchOS 10, if you have the sleep screen, you'll be able to press and hold, and it will be a lot faster, which will actually make me want to use this feature now instead of it being very annoying, and I might actually turn it on if it doesn't revert back in beta 5. Inside of this beta, we have a brand new redesign with Siri if you were to send a text message via Siri. Let me try it. My watch died after I could talk about it, so I'm going to talk about it now. So you're going to see these brand new buttons on the bottom, the X and the arrow button. It will still automatically send after a couple period of time, but you can still cancel the send. If you're to press the arrow button, it will send right away. Overall, these betas have been a lot better, including macOS. I was one of the people that did not get the major bug with macOS Sonoma. Performance feels a lot better, battery life has improved, performance feels a lot better, there are far less bugs. However, there's one area I want to talk about. Battery. While on watchOS, the battery has been really good. It has actually improved, and I believe it is good enough to be used by the average user now. Unlike in beta 3s and below, it was terrible. Battery for me seems to have gotten worse on my iPhone 14 Pro. It straight up refuses to get better. At first I thought it was because I installed it. It was gonna be fine the day after. No, it did not. It was pretty bad the day after as well. That when I went to work on Saturday, yesterday, I ended up plugging my phone because I thought it would die. And thank God I plugged it in because I ended off with 20% battery. Not really good for beta 4. And I can even back this up because my friend here says that he also has worse battery life in beta 4 than in beta 3. And he's on a 12 Pro, which should not be as bad as an iPhone XR. Now I have a couple of remaining issues inside of beta 4. The keyboard bug for me is still not fixed inside of beta 4. And we still got the notification center lag. I'm surprised Apple hasn't fixed by now. Now I have a brand new issue inside of beta 4, surprisingly. My notifications and everything, my dock, will go completely black, and it probably would go completely white on dark mode. I'm not sure what this is. It happens both on my iPhone and my iPad, so hopefully Apple can fix this pretty soon. However, widgets are a lot better now, especially with WilliWidgets, and I'm also rewriting a couple of WilliWidgets to take advantage of the brand new APIs. Now another beta Apple has released was visionOS Beta 2. I've not used it personally, but it is only in the simulator as of right now. Apple has also been shipping out developer kits, and the rules here are kind of crazy. You had to be in a completely locked room. Apple does not want the public seeing this for some reason. Yeah, I'm not even sure whoever leaked this is supposed to leak this. I hope they still have a developer account, but it's pretty much public knowledge at this point. Now, still in the developer world, now we're going to talk about some brand new changes developers will need to comply with. So if they're using the storage API, which I use for WilliWidgets, user defaults, which I also use for WilliWidgets, and some file API, which I don't use for WilliWidgets. We're going to need to specify why we use them now. Now, it will be pretty easy. Storage widget is what I'm going to put for the storage APIs that I use, and for user defaults, I'm just going to say storing user data. And Apple just really wants to reduce fingerprinting since developers have apparently been doing this, storing their storage amount in the cloud, which I don't see a benefit in at all as a developer. I just want to show the user that they have this amount of gigabytes on this hard drive. I'm not sure why Apple is doing this, but at least it was pretty easy for me to implement it and will be released in the next WilliWidgets beta, so I won't need to worry about it. So we've been seeing some brand new code inside of beta 4 of iOS 17 relating to the action button. And you're going to be able to do a new voice memo, do silent mode, run a shortcut, start the flashlight. You're going to be able to do an accessibility shortcut, activate focus modes, do the magnifier, full translate. And yeah, the shortcuts is probably going to be the most exciting for some people since they'll be able to make the action button do whatever they want. Now we might even see a silent iPhone inside of shortcuts, most likely in iOS 17.1 or 17.2. And for the first time ever, you're probably going to be able to mute your iPhone and your Apple Watch at the exact same time, which will be pretty insane to see. If you'd like to join the Discord server to potentially get revealed in a future video, please join down below. And if you'd like to see more details about the iPhone 15 and what to expect from it, you can watch that video up there. Now, what to expect from M3 Max? Pretty much all we know is that it's likely going to be based off of 3nm instead of the usual 5nm, and it's going to be a lot faster. In fact, some people are saying it's going to be faster than the M2 Pro, which I'll have to believe to see it myself. Now, here's what we know about the M3 chip so far. So it sounds like Apple's going to put it in the 13-inch MacBook Air, a Touch Bar MacBook Pro, and a 24-inch iMac, which I could actually believe. Now I have a theory about the MacBook Air. I have a feeling the price is going to drop for the MacBook Air. Don't believe me? Take a look at this. In 2018, Apple introduced the Butterfly Keyboard MacBook Air. It was very pretty, it just had the butterfly keyboard. Then Apple released a small revision of it in 2019. Then in 2020, Apple did a big chip upgrade with it, Magic Keyboard on it, right before Apple Silicon, and it was a pretty nice upgrade, and it made that MacBook cheaper. All of them, they substantially went cheaper. And I have a feeling they do the same thing as well. When Apple introduced the M2 MacBook Air, it had a brand new design, but the price went up to the same one as the 2018 MacBook Air. Last dub, the price actually went down a little bit. And I have a feeling Apple will do the same thing that they did again, and the price will go down again. Now we might even see sales of the M2 MacBook Air at some point go down, and it'll make it a pretty appealing option. Until the M3 slaps it out of the way, as that will be a lot better, mostly because of the new M3 chip making it a lot more efficient and last a lot longer. Now, if we're going to see any other upgrades to the M3 MacBook Air, it is not very likely, but it's a very exciting product to look forward to, and I hope Apple does take the change and makes it $9.99, as that is a much more appealing price than $10.99. We're actually seeing a game mode somehow inside of iOS. Is Apple going to bring game mode to iOS? Who knows? It'll be interesting to see if Apple does. It could be in an iOS 17.1 or 17.2, or maybe even in Beta 5, very likely when Apple's going to enable this. If not, they could just be saving it for iOS 18, which is very unlikely, or it could just be a mistake or an experiment that Apple was doing, just like what screen recording via Siri was, if you even remember what that was. Now, we had a pretty rare auction, not for an OG iPhone, not for an Apple One, but for Apple shoes. You may have never even heard of this product, but Apple back in the 1990s, they released some clothing, including an Apple shirt, Apple shoes, and the Apple shoes are a lot rarer since shoes don't last forever. These were actually given out to Apple employees, so pretty nice thing that Apple did back in the days. Now, I'm not sure if Apple does do anything like this besides the awards that they give out for working for Apple for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. But back then, Apple employees got Apple shoes. These recently sold off in an auction for $50,000, and it's pretty insane to see that such a rare product is in somebody's hands. Now, I'm not sure if they're ever going to wear the shoes, probably not, so it doesn't lose their value, but pretty insane. I kind of wish I had myself a pair of Apple shoes. Now let's talk about some insane deals inside the United States. So the M1 MacBook Air is $749. Pretty good deal for that laptop. Now the M2 MacBook Air is $1099. And as usual, I would always get it. Now as usual, I would always get 512 gigabytes of storage, or else just get the M1 MacBook Air. Those are probably the most insane Apple deals right now, and hopefully there's another Apple deal that's pretty insane next week, because I don't want to repeat these. Now let's talk about what we could see next from Apple next week. We're likely going to see a re-release of macOS Sonoma Beta 4 to fix the major issue that I was talking about at the beginning of this video. Now we probably won't see Beta 5 quite yet. We're probably going to see that the week after. And we're also probably going to see the public beta of iOS 17 Beta 4. We could see a re-release of Beta 4. It's very likely. It's also not very likely, as the reason why Apple re-released Beta 3 to begin with was because Xcode Beta 4 came out. Now it's very unlikely Apple's going to release another Xcode Beta, but we could just see if they just re-release it, because why not? Now let's talk about Apple way further beyond into the future. So currently with the iPhone 15, we are expecting thinner bezels. But what if I say we might not have bezels for much longer? As Apple supposedly contacted LG and Samsung, their main display manufacturers, to try to shrink the bezels to the point of not even existing. I'm kind of surprised that this is possible, but apparently it is, and maybe this will be very expensive for Apple to do, and it's very likely that Apple's going to do this inside the iPhone 16 or maybe even the 17. We'll have to wait and see. Pretty insane that Apple is trying to do this. Now I have a question for all of you to answer down in the comments down below. What would you do if you knew about the issue of macOS Sonoma, but the head developers insisted on it releasing? What would you do in this case? Now pause this video, I'm going to answer right now. I would do everything that I can to make sure it would not happen, and if not, I would tell everyone, including on the Mac Rumors forums, to not update, because I knew about the issue. Now that is all I have to say about last week. Now let's be excited for this week. I hope all of you have a greater week than last week, and I hope you enjoyed your Apple Sundae. Thanks for watching, comment, like, subscribe, share this with your friends, and I'll see you this week. Bye!